it's Jill with cricflix, and it's Saturday morning and the start of my weekend. What I'm going to be working on this morning is I have 10 2-foot carousel pieces to do. However, instead of it just being the horse, there's 5 different animals and there's 2 of each. What I'm going to do now is only work on 1 of each of the 5, so I don't make this too long. The first one, I've got them all printed and ready to go. They are not going to be glittered per the client's request. She did not want them glittered. Now this piece here, actually, after I got this all cut out, I realized it was going to be 2.5 feet tall, not 2 feet. The rabbit here, though, I cut out I pulled him to fit completely on my 12 by 18 inch mat. So all of them might vary in size because like he couldn't be as wide as some of them because of the ears. I cut these off. I cut the poles off, and these are taped on with little strips of tape on the back because I can't make them as big if I would have left those poles. But you can cut them all out on one sheet. You can get one side done on one sheet. And then I just put them together with little tabs of paper. And I'm not going to be glittering any of these. She doesn't want any glitter flowers or anything on them. But I'm going to do him first, and then each one of them is going to stand on this is actually the merry-go-round itself. And then we have the top of the carousel. So it is done. Whoops, backwards, sorry. It's done. This again was pulled to the size of a 12 by 18. This was not, because when I first did it, it was too large because the top should have been wider. And if I pull this to the side, it wasn't uniform how the image looked, or the finished product looked on the files that I got. So I did it my way. And what I'm going to do is I am going to add, I don't know what size yet. Let's figure out what size we're going to do here. In order for me to put him on the base, I don't want it like this. I'm going to put, maybe, I don't know if I can. If I did it like this with a peg, I would have to make my pegs longer. I'm thinking here, guys, because I would like to put this gold ball at the bottom, and maybe I'll just use it at the top because it won't be so tricky at the top. We'll see if we're going to be able to incorporate these at all. I'm not going to make any promises. But first thing I'm going to do is I want to tape the bottom. This, should I or should I not have the ball show? What a dilemma, guys. I think I'm going to attach that with a, oh, here, we're going to do it this way. I'm going to turn this over. I just want to make it sure it's right in the center of this thing. There we go. I am going to have the ball sitting right on top. I made an executive decision here. I'm going to do it on the top. Now, these are very thin, but I want them to be very sturdy. So if this is wide enough, and it is, I'm going to use the smaller popsicle sticks. And I put all my wood over here, and I need my mat. So I'm going to start by putting the first one here. Come on, you've been on for a while. Don't act like you haven't. Got this preheated, and it's not wanting to come out. Okay. Now, what I did on this, when I put the first popsicle stick on, this being straight up and down, you would just typically just go straight. However, I'm going to have to put another popsicle aside it, and I don't want the popsicle sticks like this because there can be a bend. I want them like this, because then when they're glued down, they cannot bend. If you put them like this, the paper will not hold them. They will bend. And this particular area on this carousel needs to be strong because it's going to balance all the way to the top, all the weight from the top. So I'm going to put them slightly side by side. I can't put them completely because it would make them wider than the pole. But I'm going to put them on a slight angle when I get towards the end to just give me enough room to slide the tip down. And actually, so that I can slide it down better, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to cut the tip of this down and make it thinner so I can put it down further. There we go. Didn't even think to do that till the last minute. Now, when I get up here, I have room to overlap them, so I'm good. And I don't think I'm not real sure on the top if I'll overlap them. The reason I'm concerned about this one is it has to hold these two pieces on the top. Once I put this together, this pole has to hold this, but I'm not really concerned it's not going to be strong enough. I think it will be fine. I'm going to use another stick. I'm going to use my coffee stir sticks. But what I think I'll do is I'll put two of them on, one on top of the other to make it stronger. But I like these because they're long and skinny. And I have a whole ton of them. And I went through I got on the floor my box of sticks. And I can't find where my coffee sticks are, my stir sticks. And my husband is at one of my grandkids' games. And so when he gets home, I'm going to ask him if he could please sort out all my sticks. He'll probably say, how do you function with that? Well, you just do what you got to do. Okay, so I'm going to just put one as far as the length goes. And I did bring it a little bit to the side of the first one I put down. Now, guys, I know that this isn't a perfect view as I do it. I don't know if I can get it any better. But this is how I have them on the back. And I don't need one for this last part. The glue is strong enough to keep that from bent. No, I'm going to put it on the last part because it just dawned on me. It's going to connect here, so I don't want it wobbly. So I'm going to break this stick in half. Totally forgot that this is still going to have to support that top, so I cannot have it wiggling around. Then what I'm going to do is make it even sturdier by adding a second stir stick. And again, the reason that I'm not using the popsicle sticks is because I want this to be longer. And again, I don't think it needs to be quite as strong as the one that's supporting two pieces as the one that's supporting one. And these stir sticks are just, they're really thin. That's why I'm putting two of them on there. And I'm tripping over my cable here. There we go. And there we go. Now I got to start putting my sticks everywhere else. I'm not real sure. I don't think they're going to fit my big wide ones, so I think I'm going to have to resort to this being my sticks, the tongue depressor size, because I'm not, okay, I hate to think, just throws me way off. Yeah, I can do one there. I know how. I move things around so much, guys, that I completely feel disoriented when I start to do something. You know, that's why I hate cleaning and rearranging closets and things, because I always end up forgetting where I put it. I was doing my workout. I still haven't heard back from Silver Sneakers for my club. So what I did is join the online to do the workouts online. Then I don't have to pay for club membership. I have to pay a small fee to use the online. I was working out last night and I needed my yoga mat. And actually, it'll look like here while I'm here. I don't know where the heck my yoga mat is. My grandkids are always playing with it, but I don't know who had it last and where. So if anybody sees it, please let me know. I had to wing it because I didn't have it, and I wasn't going to cry about it. I'm thinking, guys, I think what I'm going to do here, just because, I'm going to try it on this one. If I don't like it, I don't have to do it on the other. I am going to put a peg here so I can cut off. I'm going to cut off the gold ball on the end here. And this gold ball that was at the top, I'm going to cut that off, and I am going to put one of these through it. Now these gold balls, somebody might ask where I get them. I get them during the holidays at Hobby Lobby, and they're always, when they start their season, everything comes in, it's always 50% off. Never buy anything for crafting if it's not 50% off, because even if you go there and that day it's not 50% off, it will be the next week. Everything always goes on sale. So these are like $2.50 a bag, and they're 75 pieces. I take the white ones out and separate them. In the holidays, I could use the green and red. I have a few bags of them, but I have my husband spray paint one batch gold and one batch silver. I don't know where my silver ones are though. Oh, I didn't put a peg on. No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I have them silver as well. I used them through the holidays a lot when I was doing my craft shows, which I've been getting prepared to get ready to start my inventory for my woodworking for the holidays. So at the last minute, I'm not trying to do it, but all of a sudden I got busy with work and I don't have time now. So I work like crazy. I can't get this one on. This one's got too much glue or something. There we go. That one looks better. There we go. So then I'm going to put that ball there. I don't know why I would leave everything in the way. There we go. Yep, I like that. That ball is going to go right there on the top. So, but I want it off the edge when I go to put this on. Didn't leave myself a whole lot of room for the peg. I probably should have cut it a little bit longer, but it's all good because I can attach side by side another peg there if I need to. Again, I'm taking it a little bit off of my table here because I need this to sit flat. Just want to make sure that's dry. Let me see. Maybe I'm going to put this wood under there. A couple of these, this wood base under there so I can get this flat while I put the sticks on. And I'm going to use the big sticks on the carousel top here. Oh, you guys, you have no idea how much I hate this glue that I get at Michael's. It is just so sticky and stringy, and I hate it. I'm sorry, but there's no glue like the one from Uline. But again, the Uline one is so freaking expensive. It's just outrageously expensive because you pay so much for shipping. If they had it somewhere where I could drive and pick it up, I would probably do so. But I don't know if they do, or if they do, where it is. So this is what I do. I have a little bit of a space between the peg and this piece, and I don't want that because this will bend. So I'm going to jam a little tiny piece of wood into that little space. And go from both sides. I can figure out what I did with the other tiny piece. I slid them into that void. The sticks, just, I mean, it was minimal, but it happened from this not sitting flat. There we go. Oops, let's see, it's a little bit crooked, but let me straighten it before I put it together. Okay, got it. I needed to straighten it a little bit. I got the glue all over me. I want to make sure it's straight before I add the rest to it. Yes. These things are going to be so cute. I really like these. The other set of 10 carousels I'm going to be working on are going to be all the same, and it's with the glitter horse. There won't be any other animals or printed out. They're just going to be cut out of glitter in gold. They're a little bit different, but I was on the phone with this client going through Etsy looking for files of carousels so she could pick out what she really, really liked, and found the one with all the animals on it. And I'm like, oh, now that is really cool. Really, really cool. What I might do is when I'm done with this, before I start the next order, I might send a picture to the other woman that ordered 10 and see if she would like to do them like this. I wonder if this have a temperature control. Yes, it does. And I'm going to turn the temperature up. Maybe that's why it's so gooey. It's not hot enough. Okay, now let's see. Guys, and this is the first one I'm putting together. Where'd the other side of that go? And this doesn't matter, I'll just take another one. I got everything cut out yesterday. And again, my machine was having an attitude problem. And that one's, let me see if these are flipped. Doesn't seem to be. They looked like they were identical and didn't need to be flipped, but apparently they do. I did them flipped anyway, but I didn't think it was going to be necessary, so I didn't sort them out and flipped as I took them off the printer or out of the cutter. Oh yeah, because this is just, come on, it's got to heat up. This stuff is horrible. Yuck, it's so gooey. Don't like it at all. Did I mention that in the beginning? I guess I'm all about repeating myself, but I don't like it. Don't like it at all. Okay. Guys, I'm sorry, but I have to take a drink. My mouth is so dry. Still dealing with the same issue as I was probably 15 years ago at least, with the dry mouth syndrome that I have. Not dry mouth, but burning mouth. And I say dry mouth because all the medication I take and all the damage it's doing to my mouth, I don't produce any saliva. Not enough to keep my teeth from sticking to my gums. It's horrible. But I've resigned to the fact that it's probably never, ever, ever going to get better. This is my life. This is how it's going to be. And it could be a whole lot worse, so I need to stop whining about it. Now, ooh, I almost put the wrong rabbit on there. Here's the second rabbit in the base I was looking for. Now, what I want to do first is I want to get the rabbit attached. And the reason for that is, I hope it makes sense, that these poles that I put on here, that I put on after they were done, I mean after I cut all the pieces, I did the best I could to make sure they were straight. But if they were off even a hair, by the time you got to finishing up putting the piece together, that hair would have all of a sudden become, what do I want to say in comparison? In comparison to a dowel rod, the thickness, it would be that far off. And so I want to do the rabbit and make sure that it's all lined up, because since I taped this on to attach it, I can move it. Once I glue this down, it's taped right here, so if it doesn't line up perfect, I can move it. And it's a trick when you're putting bigger pieces together to glue them together, the fronts and the backs, because they move. You know what I just did, guys? God, I wish I should do my videos live and not the way I've been doing them, because I didn't even put my sticks in here. So this horse is missing his sticks. We can't have that. Thankfully, all I put on was that ear, because that wouldn't have a stick in it anyway. But I just realized as I was putting down the other piece that there were no popsicle sticks in here. He would have been a floppy horse. Okay, I'm going to have to go ahead and put down this area before I put the sticks on the other end, only because there's hot glue here and dripping, and I don't want it to stick where it's not supposed to be. There we go. There we go. I think we're good. Now we'll do the other side. I turned the temperature up. This doesn't seem to be making a bit of a difference. It'll burn the fire out of you. It just that's another thing I don't like. It is so gooey that when it drips on you, it's really hard to get. I don't want to say it's really hard to get off, but it is harder to get off because it's gooey. So it just doesn't just pop off. And don't pop it off if you put it on yourself. Don't pop it off while it's hot. If you do it while it's hot, you're going to bring skin with it. Good way to maim your hand is to, there we go. I use the tongue depressor sticks on here. And here we go. Oh, I just pray these will stand on the bases I have, and that my husband doesn't have to make larger ones. I don't want him to have to do that, if at all possible. So let's get a stick down here, and then we should be good. That one's not going to fit. That one's not going to fit. Better grab a smaller one. There we go. There we go. All good. Oh. Ooh. Ooh-wee. And almost there, guys. Whoops, I haven't seen one of these standing up yet, so I'm excited for that. I should have my glue gun mat over here. Should I have any room? And I don't want it dripping all over my table. And there goes, I'm going to move my mat over here so it's not dripping on my table. So now I can trip on it instead. I think I'm going to move it down here. I know what I had with this issue with this was this thing is really big. This guy is big. And putting together on this little table is not that easy. And that right there might present a problem for me because it's still moving. Let's see if it moves when I get the other side holding it in place. And I forgot to cut the end off. Oh, that I wish it was doing a lot. Oh, I didn't cut the end off on that one. I should be doing these live so that you guys can be telling me when I'm getting off track. I'm off track a lot. I don't mean with this. I mean just off track. Man, the older you get, you almost need a map just to survive. And I don't think that's as strong as I want it to be, so I'm going to grab one of these babies. These are actually kind of a toothpick, but I still is that? Not really. It's not really bending. No, I think it's just, I gotta wait and see if when I get it all together. If I have to, I have these little, you can always get these on sale at Michael's, and all they are is like serving, you know, garnish sticks or whatever. And I just take the ends off and use those. Those are something that goes on sale and goes down to like 80% off. Unbelievably cheap. So this is the one I need to cut this off on. There we go. And there we go. I just got to cut it off a little bit more. So, I'm going to glue this stick on. Man, am I a klutz. This one's got a peg and 2 sticks, 4 sticks. Let's see. All I'm looking for is sturdy. It's all I want it to do is be sturdy. Let me see. Do I have gold? What I want there? No, I don't. Nope, I don't have any. So now I need to do, I can't put this here, guys. Not gonna work. I need the whole length of this table. Let me see now how we're looking. Okay. Next thing, I probably shouldn't put this on until the very, very, very end. Yep, there we go. Some of you are probably wondering, do I even have a clue what I'm doing? Yeah, it's up for grabs. I think I do, and sometimes I think I don't. So, right now, I am up for debate. I just felt something that wasn't sturdy. So, I did forget to put the peg on here, guys. That was brilliant. You need that peg to put it on the base. Not very smart. I set that on there so that doesn't move. And hope there's an area in here I can fit a peg. Yes, there is. And I got to get another drink. You know what? I don't believe I'm going to be able to get 5 done in one film. I think it's going to take me 5 films. These I've never done before, so I'm grasping here. I wish I had something gold. I do have something gold. I'll figure it out afterwards. I want this to look a little bit different. The where the pole meets that gold ball. Okay, you guys are looking at the back side, so don't be very impressed. Back side doesn't look that good. And I'm gonna put this piece on it. And did I put the sticks on it? I did. I don't know how I missed it the last time, but it's only par for the course. Okay, let me see if these were double-sided. It fits, it matches, but doesn't seem to just drop and fall right in place, and that one does. These were double-sided as well. So, as I go, I'm going to sort out. I can tell when I line them up, because when I drop them, they should be right exactly on line. I thought these images were not flipped, that they were exact same thing, so that's how I cut them out. No, I didn't come out that way. I did flip them. But, there we go. I don't like that tip there, though. Okay, okay. Stay put. Don't move. The glue is definitely hotter. I'm not sure if it's coming out any less goopy, but it's hotter. Okay. I need a bigger table to do these. Truly. Not that easy. Like I said, these are 3.5 feet tall, 2.5 feet tall. She's coming up from Rockford to pick them up. They're too big for me to ship. If I were to ship them at this size, I would have to buy a custom box. We get all our boxes from Uline, but we don't have them that would be this big. And it would cost a ton to ship. If she would have chosen to ship them instead of picking them up, they wouldn't be as large. I would have cut back on size so that they would fit in our largest box. But this particular size would be a no-go. No way could I do it. Okay. See, guys, I don't know if you can see that, but man, I don't like that at all. It's driving me nuts. It's just so gummy. Yuck. Okay. So, there is the first one. Now, I've got to put a peg, try and put it on here. Again, none of these are going to have any glitter on them. But they definitely need to have a peg. And I totally forgot to do that. I think I'm, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do, because I don't want to rip that, I'm going to put another layer on top of this. I'm going to put the peg in. Right there, I think. Let me make sure that's straight. Yes. And then I have an extra set of these anyway. I cut too many out. So I'm just going to put one right on top of it. And that one's flipped. I probably should go go through and sort all of these. Yep, there we go. Now it lines up. But I'm just going to tape it on because I do not want that extra stick weight. So I'm over here taping this, guys. Using my ATG gun with the really, well, the nice 1/2-inch tape. Love that tape. Got it. There we go. It was a lot easier than tearing apart the base. It wasn't going to be torn apart anyway. It was going to tear if I did that. If I continued messing with it, I would have had a mess. So, there is the first one. And let's put it on a base and stand her up. Oops, I felt a bend there. I'm going to have to reinforce that a little bit more right in here where it joins. Yep. That is going to have to be enforced more. So that means going in and putting little toothpicks or whatever I need to reinforce this. I wonder, yep, because I can see it where it is right here. So what I'm going to do is go in here. And put another stick, which is one of these toothpicks. I left the point on one end so I could dig it in and under the glue that's already there. So, okay. I need to take a little bit off. And then I need to put a little glue in there. And say a prayer that this is going to work. Done it numerous times, but I've never done these pieces before. And they're really tall on these skinny little pipes holding them up. So it's not easy. There we go. I'm going to put one on the other side too. And any glue that squeaked out, I'm just going to rub off with my fingers and throw it in the trash. There's a trash bag there. I'm just not throwing garbage all over the floor. Believe it or not, I'm not. And I need one more. How many did I take out? Yep, definitely, guys. This is going to have to be multiple films, and I won't do them all if they're all going to be done the same, but I will post all of the pictures. I just, you know, I'm sure there's not many out there, if any, that want to watch me again and again and again. I feel pretty confident in that. Let me see where the weak point was, right there. So I'm going to go from this side. And, well, guys, you don't have to watch me figure out to reinforce. Any changes that I'm going to make, I will then film and say, hey, I did it differently this time. And the stick situation to make it sturdier, because these are very heavy and these are very long. So I will be back, and thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, I'm back again for the second time, but I'm going to not even bother continuing with the first part because it wasn't long enough to make a difference. My husband called me right in the middle of filming, and I thought, I better call him and tell him I'm going to be filming, not to call me. He's out getting me some dowel rods. I'm going to be working on the second piece, but I had the issue after I got the first one all together. Even though I doubled up on my sticks in the center on the pole, it still wasn't real sturdy. And right in the middle of it here, I could see the bend. So I added on the dowel rods. A client wants to wrap ribbon around those poles. So for that reason, I do not want the dowel rod on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run an entire dowel rod through the whole piece in one. I'm not going to cut it in pieces. The thing that you have to be really careful of is that you have it straight. That is crucial when you're doing this. And when I put that on the middle, I got an issue here where I just put on, I don't want it there because it's the poles, not where I want it to be. So I'm going to very gently pull this loose. That is still there. There we go. And there. Until I put the top piece on anyway. You just have to be real careful when you're doing tall pieces that you get them straight, because that isn't always that easy to do. So let me finish getting it on here again. I still have the peg there, but it snapped off. And I know why, because it has a little bend in it. So I need to flip it over. And then I'm going to proceed down the actual pole. And I want it right in the middle because I don't want to have glue gobbing out the sides. I probably should have looked at this video, the first part that I did, before I did look at it a little bit. I just want to make sure that you can see. But I think I did look and you could see. This is a better area where I have my phone now for filming. I don't have an ideal spot. Unfortunately, I don't. The one thing is I never have, so it's not like a big shock. It's never been ideal. Since I'm not a professional photographer, I do it with my phone. It is what it is. I do the best I can with what I got. And let me get this piece across. When you're using one straight rod and they're really long, it can be a challenge. You got to make sure that you're following the rod and how you've got it going on your piece, because some of these rods, when they're this long, I don't know where they went. Oh, there's one over there. They can be bent. They're really soft and easy to straighten. Typically, if I have a bent rod and I'm going to use it and it's longer and I see where it's just bent a little bit, I turn it so that the curved bow part is flat down, not to the side, because it's harder to straighten them when you have that little bit of a bow to try and curve it when it's on the side, because it doesn't have anything to keep it from turning a little bit your piece. Whereas if you do it flat down, when you put your other piece on top, it reinforces it. I'm trying to explain because I know exactly what I mean, and I have no idea if I'm explaining it right. I'm so sorry, but sometimes it's just not that easy for me to explain something. And it's really comical between my hubby and I, because he is even worse than me, and my problem with him, his problem is explaining to me, and my problem with him isn't explaining to him. It's getting to him to understand what I'm saying. And the older he gets, the harder it gets. And I mean, the kids, everybody have noticed it, that, I mean, it used to be just his mind was just do, 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 do. And he's just turned 75. And his mind doesn't quite go anymore. It's kind of bleh. And that, I'm not making fun of him. We're both getting up there in years. My birthday's coming up, which this year I will be 73. And I'm going to celebrate with thanking God that I am still healthy and still going. That is number one. I keep telling everybody my goal is I want to live past 100. And I said, when I think about it, it isn't all that far away. I mean, it is, but yet it isn't. The older you get, the time goes so fast. I had a throwback of photos in Facebook this morning, and my mother was from 8 years ago, and my mother was in the picture, and it was from 8 years ago, and to me it doesn't seem like it's been 8 years ago. She passed away, but I don't know how many years ago, guys. I have no idea, but it was, I think, 5 or 6 years ago. My brother passed away too, and I have no concept of time anymore, and that isn't something I wrote down. I mean, I don't think at any point in time did I think, oh, I need to write down when. So I have no idea when it was. But I could always find out if I needed to by looking on Facebook, or I know how old she was when she passed away, and I know what year she was born. So if I took the time, I could figure it out. It sounds really bad, but it's just when you get older anymore, I'm getting at that age where I told my husband it's really, really hard, because people our age, I just lost my neighbor last month. Well, lost quite a few friends. Last month was a rough month, but I'm at that age that things happen a lot more than they did when I was younger. Now this keeps trying to turn on me, so what I'm going to have to do with this is put my stick, my big stick. My big stick I'm going to have to put on here, connected to the dowel rod, and pull it down and put the stick there, and then on the other side so that it can't pop back up. This one, I didn't realize, it wasn't bent very much. Pretty much all of them, when you get them, there's a little bit of a bend in them if you get dowel rods, the longer ones. But I don't do that many pieces that need more than just a peg. I haven't done one with more than just a peg in years. But this particular centerpiece, I think that's the only way to go. Like I said, so that I don't have to worry about it bending. I would say at the joint, but it doesn't have any joints. Oh yes, guys, big difference. A lot easier, a lot less work for me, and I can feel it a lot sturdier. I still have to put my sticks on it, but I've got the dowel rod running up the whole thing, and I can see that it is nice and sturdy. And it's even going to be sturdier when I add my sticks. I think these are absolutely adorable. I get a lot of orders for the carousels, but this is the first time I've done one in colors, and I really like it. I think it's really cool. I want to stick this in here, and I want to make sure that it holds that piece straight. A reinforcement time. I think I'm going to have to reinforce with a smaller stick. A popsicle stick. Okay. Guys, I'm making this look a lot harder than it is. Did I just say girls or guys? I don't know what I just said. Wouldn't normally use that either way. It would not be something I would say. I had my last burn class on Thursday because I'm still waiting for my insurance company to get back to me about switching my clubs, and they haven't gotten back to me yet, which means I have to go with my old one again. Or I'm just going to do it online. I tried to do that last night online, but it's not the same thing. It's just not the same. So I'm going, today's my first day that I haven't gone since 1st of February. And definitely in withdrawal. I enjoy it so much. Just, the people are so nice. I just really love it. And I sure wish that they would get back to me to tell me a yay or nay. My husband said, just call them every day and they'll get so tired of hearing from you, I said, well, unfortunately, the people I'm calling aren't the people that make those decisions. I don't have the number of the people that make the decisions. And he said, well, ask the club to do it. And I said, well, I'm sure the club doesn't really care about calling for me to find out why they haven't processed this application. I'm one of, I don't know how many hundreds of members they have. Although my class said it was horrible that I wasn't going to be there because I made it so much fun. And I think it made it so much fun for them because I would get in there and I never knew what I was doing. They just go bam, bam, bam from one workout to another. And I was always running around going, where'd my partner go? There's so many of them I can't keep up. And when they get in there and feel real awkward when they first start this, I make them not feel awkward. Because everybody, it takes them one day of working out and they're outdoing me. I'll never know what I'm doing. I want to go there because my daughter's there. And she always is my sitter. She makes sure I'm in the right group. And the reason they do it by groups is because if they have 6 sets of weights, for one particular exercise, they have 6 sets of weights all set up. And whatever it is we're working on a boozoo, and it's 6 people, they have 6 of them out. So if 7th person comes along, you've messed somebody up. So hence the reason of assigning us like that. But nobody really cares to hear about that, but I just am telling you, I'm trying to think of anything good or funny or anything. I have had so much going on that normally, I know in the past, every time I was doing something, I always had something to tell. And nothing has changed in that, other than the fact that I can't remember what I was going to tell. That's a big deal. Now, I did remember from the last one I did that these were flipped and I didn't know it. So I took them and flipped them out, and this is the right one. Then this one's kind of hard to mistake. Here's the other side of our, it isn't the other side. Oh, it wouldn't be hard to mistake, and I did it. I pulled the wrong one. Okay, there we go. That's the other side. And let me get the other side of the tent or topper, or I don't know what these call these things, and I don't really care. Ooh, yes, this went a lot smoother, guys. So my recommendation for this particular piece, if anybody was going to take on the challenge of making it, the second part of this video, which is now, is a lot easier to do. A lot easier. Now, keep your fingers crossed that everything comes up straight and I don't have to do any reinforcing. I hope not, because then I'm going to have to really get out my thinking cap. I know some big ones I did. That was hot glue on that part. Ow. That stuff is hot. Remember I told you in the first part, don't take it off when it's hot? I just did. Don't do that. It takes your skin off. I just took my skin. No, I didn't. I got lucky. I didn't. But don't do that when it's hot. When the stuff is still hot, don't take it off. Run it under cold water, whatever, but it will rip your skin off. I don't recall what I was just talking about when I heard myself. I don't remember what I was saying. I don't think I've gone down. Oh, I must have. I didn't think I went down that far. Trying to pull it off. I had already glued it on. First one, I do remember that I forgot to put the peg to stand it, and decided to go with the full blown dowel rod, is so that I didn't have any weak spot in the whole length of the piece. And I started to say glue this guy in first, because you want to make sure that these pegs are on exactly how they're supposed to be. And since they're taped, you can move them if you do them last, but it doesn't matter if you do them last or not. You do them because you can still move them, but from the other end. Again, I think the only people that know what I'm talking about would be the people that make these things. If you don't make these things, you're not going to have any idea what I'm talking about. And sorry about that, but there we go. And now we're going to start working on her. And I want to put a little extra glue here because this is a real thin area on the swan. And I try when I'm making them, and there's areas that I know that are very, very narrow that I'm going to be working with. Pay particular attention when I'm putting them together, because if there's a narrow spot, this is where these two pieces connected. And this narrow spot down here is where this ball ends and connects with this. And so there's a narrow opening down here. I like to make sure that I put extra glue there so that it doesn't lift. And again, I am so sorry for any of you watching, I am so sorry if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Again, the people that have been watching for a while and are doing this, which there's a lot of you out there now that do this, you'll know what I'm talking about. You probably have learned things along the way as well that you're probably sharing, but I used to watch those videos on scrapbooking all the time, and I don't watch videos of that anymore at all. I listen to audiobooks all the time, so I don't even watch TV. So I haven't seen anything new. I don't mean new as far as like if there's other ways of, or other things going on with making centerpieces. I started this 17 years ago, and when I started making these, it was for a customer. It lived in Oregon State, and it was my very, very first order, and she asked me, can you make centerpieces? And I said, I will give it a shot. And that was the first time I ever made them, and I worked on them probably for a good 2 or 3 years before I started doing videos. And when I started doing videos, there were no Etsy shops that had these kinds of pieces. It was a whole new, what would I call it, section, you know, like if you go into Etsy and you go into jewelry or paintings, there's all sorts of different departments is what I guess I would call it. There was none other than die cuts that were being made using the Cricut, which was not a printout. You did the things in layers, and then you had to tape and glue them all together. That's how I started out. But there was nothing like with party favors. And now it's unbelievable how many are out there. It's a lot of them. It's a fun thing to do. I do think with a lot of it, though, I gave away too many of my secrets. Now it's too late in the game. My husband always said, don't tell everything, you know, because, you know, this was something that I probably shouldn't have, but no regrets. It's okay. It's all good. There we go. One single dowel rod. Yeah, and Kelly, if you're watching this, I got your message about scrapbooking. It hasn't been my priority lately because I barely have time to do this. I have so much on my plate, and my kids still have, I got to cut this a little shorter, still have hundreds of pages here in cartons underneath my bed of scrapbook pages and empty books here that all they have to do is come over and pick them up and take some books home and put them together. And they haven't done that yet. So it isn't on my priority list. Let's just put it that way. I don't want any more underneath my bed. And so, and guys, it's still, now I'm going to have to come up with something else because it's still not standing sturdy. Now, it isn't because of up here. So, I think what I'm going to have to do is use something larger through here. The weak spot is in, let me see if I hold it here. This isn't. It's down here. So, guys, I'm going to be back to the drawing board, but I still will be doing it with one rod because I can reinforce down here without an issue. But I can't up here on the pole. So, on the next one, I will probably add yet another way of reinforcing more because I need to make sure that this thing doesn't move this back and forth. So, anyway, I'll be back again. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.